What's the one thing I can do such that by doing it, everything else becomes easier or unnecessary? In my marriage relationship, in my other personal relationships, in my spiritual life, in my finances, in my job, what's the one thing I can do such that by doing it, everything else becomes easier or unnecessary? That's the focusing question in this book, The One Thing by Gary Keller. It's a great question to ask, and I've used it in so many different ways, just in even sometimes in just a single relationship. What's the one thing I can do right now in this relationship or in this instance or in this business situation such that by doing it, everything else becomes easier or unnecessary? It's a great question. And these couple of books that I have behind me are the ones that right now seem to be resonating most with people. In our rushed society with so much going on and so much accessibility and everything, people are kind of saying, how do I narrow down and make sure I'm getting the right things done at the right time? So the one thing is a great focusing question to help with that. And for my business, if I'm got 3 hours of focus time, it's what's the one thing I can do in that 3 hours? It's just that by doing it, everything else becomes easier or unnecessary in my business. Just in that part of my business. It's not how it doesn't affect my whole life. It's that business part. What can I do right now? Then when the time comes to have time with family, what's the one thing I can do now such that by doing it, everything else becomes easier or unnecessary? Maybe it's just checking out a business. That's a huge value add to our families, for instance. So there's a lot of ways to use this question. Now, I'm referring to The One Thing, but also the book Essentialism by Greg McKeown is an awesome resource. These two, they've got a lot of similar studies and some similarities between them, and they have some great individual perspectives and thoughts. So I'm going to recommend both of those to people. And this is coming up a lot right now, so since I'm hearing it from other people, hopefully it's something that will help you. Just narrowing down and removing some of the clutter in our lives so we can focus on what's most important. Because there's plenty of stuff to fill the time. Make sure you're narrowing it down to the things that matter most. And the third book is Intentional Living by John Maxwell. It's John's newest book, and I was having a coffee with a very good friend of mine who I just respect immensely, and he said, you know that book, I'm going through it, and it is opening up things for me, Rick, that I had never would have thought. And it's just new thoughts, new processes, and it's really made a difference. And that's somebody who I respect so much. And I thought, man, how neat is it to see somebody who's in a stage that I can look up to and respect, still looking to grow and develop and become more. So wherever you are, think about it. What's the one thing you can do such that by doing it, everything else becomes easier or unnecessary? Apply that question in so many areas of your life and let us know what you get back in return.